The air on Agri-Prime 7 tasted of rust and rot. For Kale, a scavenger from the human colony hidden in the planet's vast fungal canopies, it was the scent of death. The giants called the world Goliath's cradle, a name that felt less like a metaphor and more like a geological fact. Their footsteps shook the ground, their shadows blotted out the sun, and their ignorance of humanity was as absolute as their size. Kale crouched in the hollow of a petrified tree, watching a colossal plow scrape the landscape, its tines the size of starships. The giants were gentle, their work slow and deliberate, but their movements were careless, devastating. They didn't see the tiny colonies they crushed, the ecosystems they uprooted. They didn't see Kale's people, who survived by hiding in the cracks of their world. Until now, something had changed. A blight, the giants called it. A creeping, gray rot that spread through their crops, turning lush fields to ash. They offered no reward for a cure, only a vague, dismissive plea for help from the mythical pests they barely acknowledged. Kale knew it wasn't a blight. It was a message. The rot was a canvas, and Kale was the artist. His people had always used art to communicate, to survive, to rebel. Their music could soothe the giants' restless sleep. Their sculptures could divert their attention. Their stories could rewrite memories. But this was different. This rot was spreading too fast, too precise, as if guided by an unseen hand. Kale descended into the fungal canopies, where his colony's elders huddled around a flickering hologram, a recording of the blight's origin. It wasn't natural. It was fractal, geometric, the kind of pattern only a human mind could create. Someone was painting the apocalypse. "They're not fighting," whispered Lyra, Kale's second, her voice tight with fear. "They're erasing." The giants didn't understand the rot because they couldn't see the art within it. Kale could. He traced the fractal lines with his fingers, feeling the hum of reality warping around him. The rot wasn't killing the crops, it was unmaking them. And the artist was still out there, somewhere in the shadows, waiting for the giants to notice. The investigation led Kale to the giants' nurseries, vast, domed structures where they cultivated their sacred crops. Inside, the air was thick with the scent of decay and ozone. The rot had already claimed half the nursery, its gray tendrils coiling around the giant's precious flora like a serpent. Kale moved through the shadows, his heart pounding. The artist was here. He could feel it, the same way he could feel the music in the wind or the stories in the stones. Then he saw it. A mural, painted on the far wall, its colors bleeding into the air itself. It was a portrait of a giant, but distorted, twisted, its face a mask of sorrow. The rot wasn't a weapon. It was a cry for help. The artist was a human, one of Kale's own, driven mad by the giant's indifference. The mural pulsed, the colors deepening, the rot spreading faster. Kale knew he had to stop it, but how? The giants wouldn't listen. They never did. Kale stood before the mural, his hands trembling. The rot was inches away from him now, its touch cold, absolute. The artist was nowhere to be seen, but their presence lingered in the air, a whisper of despair. Kale closed his eyes, reaching for the one thing the giants could never understand: improvisation. He couldn't erase the mural, but he could overwrite it. He pulled a tube of paint from his pack, a color the giants had never seen, the deep, infinite black of space. He began to paint, not a portrait, but a void, a swirling, endless expanse of stars and silence. The mural resisted, the rot fighting back, but Kale painted on, his strokes bold, his will unbroken. The giants stopped their work, their massive heads tilting in confusion. They didn't understand the art, but they felt the shift in reality. The rot receded, the black void swallowing the gray decay. When Kale finished, the nursery was silent. The giants stared at the mural, not with anger, but with awe. They had finally seen the truth. And in that moment, Kale knew the real power wasn't in the art itself, but in the courage to create it.